I'm CriagO, and join me on my adventures with CriagO's cryptocurrency as we cover the blockchain, Web3, NFT, and cryptocurrency technologies. Interviewing the best in the industry, giving tips and tricks, and also sharing with you projects that I'm most excited about. You're watching CriagO's Crypto Corner, the best in Web3, blockchain, and NFT cryptocurrency technologies. Today's a really cool day. I've got the men from Bryant University, Travis, Dan, and Kevin. Now, Travis and I go way back, I'd say probably to the beginning of this year, but really cool story. One of my fellow realtors connected us together and said, hey, you guys need to talk about this Web3 space as we know it. We hit it off on the phone, started trading ideas and different thoughts on the, as I like to say, the house of information and the store of money. No more quick plays right now as the market did collapse last week pretty badly.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we've seen not only the stock market do a little correction, but definitely the crypto market, Bitcoin's down, and the NFT market is.
But here's a good thing. Drew Austin from Knights of Degen had a perfect tweet. Builders will keep building. Consumers will keep consuming, and the market will continue to move. So people are doubling down. We just had movers on. Now we sit with you, gentlemen. Super excited to have you, Dan and Kevin. So let's get right into it. Tunney Munney. I mean, it was a project that I got from JPEG Morgan. Shout out to JPEG Morgan and my good friend, Sean Rosenfeld, who last year I couldn't sleep all night because he said at 9 o'clock on a March evening, I'm probably thinking, I don't know, beginning of March of 2021, hey, Craig, let me show you VV. Let me show you NBA Top Shot. I literally couldn't go to sleep. I was like, these are digital assets. This is what an NFT is. And I literally, the barrier of entry for people is very difficult. But once you get used to it, it becomes easy. And I support centralized platforms. We'll talk maybe a little bit about that in a second. But let's talk about the Tunney Munney project that you got involved in, that we got involved in. And a good feeling that when Munney's printed. But tell me a little bit about that project and you going and meeting Peter at the studio. How cool is that?
Yeah, so it was unbelievable. While down in Miami for the Bitcoin conference a couple months ago, I was in the Tunney Munney Discord, just talking to them, letting them know that I would be in Miami and to see if I can meet any of them in real life. And the founder, along with Peter, is Digital Buddhist on their Discord or on Twitter. And he was like, yeah, hit me up when you get to Miami. I'd love to come talk. And anyways, while I was in the studio, he invited me down to their personal studio where Peter does the art itself. And to my surprise, I walked in on a full-blown Nerf battle with Peter and his son and the rest of his NFT team. So that was an unbelievable experience to not only meet in real life, because oftentimes the relationships in Web3 are, the people are all over the place and scattered. So it's oftentimes through the metaverse or a Zoom call or a call. So it was awesome to be in Miami and actually touch the flesh and tell these guys what I've been working on and how I'm trying to make a career in Web3, and also hear how, what their process was of, creating Tunney Munney and how they came up with their ideas and how they're attracting an audience.
Yeah, and I think he's a good example, and that project is a good example of community engagement. And I thought what was really funny is that you guys you just finished up your finals. Dan and Kevin just recently graduated. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I think one of the things that's really cool is that you guys were, and again, I'm not, talking about money, but you guys did some really good buy and sells this year. And I think it came along with a level of risk taking, a level of understanding the information and an understanding of appreciating a project. So Dan, let me shoot over to you. What was the project this year that for you made the most sense when you say it, whether you've held it or you've sold it? What project really had you excited in 2022 thus far?
So to be honest, actually at the end of 2021, I entered Psychedelics Anonymous NFT. That's got to be probably the best NFT community out there in general, just all around.
What makes it great? Because there are definitely a lot of communities, so I'm going to have you drill down on that.
So to be honest, the floor prices stayed up even through this bear market. I mean, a lot of great collections like Llamaverse took a huge hit. Love Llamaverse, nothing against it. But specifically, Psychedelics Anonymous is just continuing to innovate even when the market drops. Builders build in the bear market, and I kind of like to invest my money in builders and people who don't, sway or move away or get kind of nervous in the bear market.
Got
so
it.
that's where I like to invest.
So more specifically, I think, and for you, and I'm just drilling down on what you said because I want the listeners to understand. When I go into a Twitter or Discord page, one of the things that I look for is the amount of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And right now, channels that are FUD. So I'm going to assume that, Psychedelics Anonymous, I've seen the project, really cool artwork, right? Everybody's artwork. There you go. But I think really when a community can hold steady and a project doesn't have bad news, like there was a project where there was a potential rug pull. It was Azuki, I believe. And it was a potential rug puller, and the person came onto a Twitter call, and it lost community confidence. I think that creates a big concern. But I want to shoot directly with you, Trav, because one of the things that we did is we got introduced. I introduced you to Easton Gladney, and now you guys are going to hang out at NFT NYC, and that's a friendship that's built from there, a Web3 experience that's built from there, and he's doing a lot of great things in the space. I also had him on as a guest. But I was going through some of the Twitter stuff, and I was looking, according to the CEO, Benjamin Minsu. I hope I didn't butcher the last name. They've got 3 phases that are coming out, and I'm really excited about Elrond, and I'll tell you for a few reasons, and I want to hear your thoughts. So Elrond, for me, I love the transaction speed. I love the innovation. I love the fact that it can get more people onto a platform for less money, because when you want mass adoption, nobody's going to want to pay, and again, no disrespect to the other side, a minting process, but nobody's going to want to pay on a minimum of $50 all the way up to $250, all the way up to 2 or 3 ETH. I guess there was one mint that happened on the other side, not to go too far off the tracks, 16 ETH in gas fee. Go figure, $123 million in gas fees by the time that was said and done. So, a shout out to Bored Ape Yacht and all the projects that they're working on, the Mutant Apes, their Serum, phenomenal. But I do want to talk about Elrond. And here was a couple things in the first phase that the CEO mentioned, right? So they're going to have the Ethereum Elrond bridge. That really excites me. Now, we know that Ethereum is going to come out with their 2.0 probably in August. At least that's what they're saying. The Elrond is going to do the launch of their NFT marketplace, the emergence of UTK 2.0, and the launch of new projects on the Launchpad, and a new DEX platform will be released. Any thoughts on those things in their first phase, Travi?
I would say that what I love really about Elrond is that they've continued to deliver. They're working on their NFT marketplace, which I think in particular is spectacular. Like you talked about, you connected me with Easton, and we've also forged a great relationship. And he introduced me to the blockchain and has taught me so much about it, and I've really come to love it. I love the fact that they're creating a marketplace instead of Ethereum and Solana are using OpenSea or these different marketplaces. Neither one of them are creating their own. And I think the fact that based off their Maiar app, which every time I talk about it, I get so excited. I love the Maiar
I feel like
app.
you're very secure on that Maiar app. I mean, obviously, don't give out your seed phrase because then your stuff is gone. But overall, I feel like it's a much better app to use. The user interface is much more friendly, and when you're paying hundredths of a penny for any transaction, it means that you can really start to diversify. And I'm very big into the space on that. I think you also brought something that third party. So on the Launchpad, it's all stuff that's in-house, right?
So the Launchpad, I believe, should have third parties building on it.
Got it. But the Maiar DEX,
yes, should be created through them, which is awesome. I'm sure there'll be derivatives of the Maiar DEX as there is on Ethereum and Solana and all the other blockchains. However, I think the fact that Elrond is creating their end of things,
right?
Instead of relying on others to create or innovate for them, like Ethereum has done for NFTs or Solana has done for NFTs. Maiar and the Elrond team is taking it upon them to create their entire ecosystem that is through them.
I love it. I love it. And I got a head nod from Dan. So Dan, here's phase 2, right? Massive expansion of the Elrond ecosystem. So Elrond will now have its stable coin. I like that. And maybe we'll just go a little off the track on this. You know about Luna, right? And UST,
yeah, man.
right? UST is an algorithmic stable coin. It is not your typical stable coin. It depends on the health of Luna. They also are going to do the Maiar 2.0 application and the Maiar card. Any thoughts on those 3 things and how it compares to the UST coin that people might get confused with?
Yeah, so I actually don't know too much about Elrond's stablecoin itself, but I'm sure it's a little bit more innovative than UST. I mean, UST was a algorithmic backed stablecoin. Clearly went wrong, and I believe there was a couple bad players involved in that. I don't want to go into specifics, but Yeah, I think if Elrond can secure, another good stable coin and kind of, secure themselves as like the number 2, number 3 blockchain behind Ethereum, I wouldn't even say Solana is number 2. At this point, I mean, Solana's been having a lot of outages, et cetera. But honestly, I think Elrond can with their efficiency, can make a big leap into the blockchain. Just kind of make a.
I think there's enough space in this space for a lot of different big players. The thing that I like about stable coins is that there's a consistency where the idea that your crypto coin, your stable coin, is pegged to that of the USD, right? And again, I know that our US dollars fluctuate, so if they have it pegged to gold or silver, I might be even happier. Or also notes, commercial notes or residential notes. Again, we're going to see a lot of changes and shift in the market. So, Kev, I want to look over to you, buddy. Hand him the microphone and the ears, all right? So, phase 3. Here's the cool thing about phase 3. You get some time, Kev. Make sure the bridge is secured for coin swaps, as that is the most vulnerable to attacks, right? That's the one thing that they're going to be securing up on the 3rd phase. They will also continue to update the Launchpad marketplace. Competitors in the space are deadrare.io, Trust Market. That will exist on the main application, which will be controlled primarily by the team. Now, are you a holder of eGold or Elrond or any NFTs in that ecosystem?
No, I'm not. I'm mostly on just Ethereum.
Got you. So we're hoping to convert you right now. That's why we put you in the hot chair. I didn't know why, but now that you're sitting there, how dare you not have some Elrond and not be involved in that ecosystem? And this is also, by the way, a low cost of entry. So tell me, when you look at projects that launch and you look at blockchains with native tokens, what is it that keeps you still fully engaged on the Ethereum blockchain and not, with all this great advice around you from Dan and from Travis, why are you not involved on Elrond, my friend?
Honestly, it's about the learning curve. I started NFTs about a year and a half ago, and I started out with just researching everything, and I eventually got into Top Shot. And then from there, I just kind of understood it. I liked the idea of just digital assets, digital dunks, digital shots, everything. And then from there, I got introduced to VFriends was my main project. I love Gary Vee. I love what he does for the community. I try to invest in leaders like him. So that's my main thing that I look for, community and leaders. But
Love it.
They were talking to me about Elrond, and I'm definitely going to look into it. I just haven't had a lot of time
It's okay.
with graduation, but yeah.
It's okay. You're just on the hot seat because I just want you to know more exists for you, my friend.
Yeah,
more diversification. But I think you brought up a really big point, and I think it's true for all the listeners. It's true for myself. So after today's podcast, I'm actually going into the process of moving a couple things around. I'm actually going to dig in with Mike. We call him AKA the Brain, one of the smartest guys I know. He's going to talk to me a little bit in depth about their marketing and their swap and liquidity pools. So I'm really excited to understand that. But I appreciate what you said. That to me is the best clip that people could tune in and say, okay, so this guy's got a lot of stuff going on. He understands the space, but he's like, sometimes that's too steep of a learning curve, and this acquires my attention. And it brings it back to why we should be supporting these centralized platforms like Binance.us. We should be supporting Coinbase. When I say supporting people getting on to then ask the questions to want to learn more. I love digital assets because it surrounds and encompasses community. So I appreciate that. So let me just throw to you guys, MEX is an ESDT token. Right? So that is going to be their stable token that is powered the Maiar exchange. It is required for governance of decentralized exchange platforms as a fuel perpetual decision-making process that will maintain the Maiar DEX ahead of the curve in terms of innovation, operational model, listing policies, and other actions aimed at creating sustainable value cycle for its stakeholders. Furthermore, the MEX token is designed as a value capture mechanism, an incentive vehicle that will allow a compelling attributes of the economical advantages it enables to scale with its adoption. Now, most of the time I can remember things. That's pretty tough. I had to write that down and read it. So that wasn't off of memory, but I'm sure you guys know that. So let's talk about the Luna burn method. Now, I say, and this is not financial advice, and please consult with your financial advisor, but I'm gonna throw this question back at you, Kevin. I feel that that Luna is the best lotto ticket. It is the best degenerate play you could possibly have for maybe the next month or so, and I'll tell you why, and then you tell me if you agree with it, right? So Luna burn method, the burn trend is they have a 6.5 trillion supply of Luna out there right now, right? So there's way much more supply than there is of the actual demand. So basically, what's happening right now is they're sending this Luna to a burn wallet. But it's stupid because you've got 6.5 trillion Luna. So what they're trying to do is keep that community to burn. And here's where I think the opportunity is in it. And I'm just throwing the idea out there. And again, this is not financial advice. I've got to say it a million times over. But if you have people that are burning and you're reducing the supply, and you have your Twitter their Twitter page, you can look at it, was at 700,000 followers before the collapse of UST that's directly pegged to the Luna token. Now, here's the crazy thing. They have another 300,000 followers. Now, for me, it's okay, people are looking at the burning plane going down and crashing, going, look at that. Let me follow this. You have those people, but you also have people that go, wait, you have 300,000 new people, maybe some new, some not, but the news was so rapid. Why? Shout out to Janet Yellen. Janet kind of went after the UST coin and tried to say, oh, these are why these stable coins. Janet, it is an algorithmic stablecoin. The health of the UST is directly pegged to that of Luna. It is not USDT and it is not USDC. So I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts on Terra Luna, and do you think it's a great degen play? Not financial advice, Kev. We know this.
Yeah, I am big into degen plays just with the community that I am very present in, but I think there is a huge opportunity with just how much liquidation got pulled out of the market with Luna and just with other launches like Moonbirds, just how quick and just how much money went into those projects instead of other projects. So I do definitely see that there's a huge upside, but like anything, there's a huge downside. It could just stay down, could go up, but it is very good that you see the new people coming into the space, new active Twitter followers. So I do agree that it could be a huge opportunity.
Yep, I'm a big fan of social currency. All right, so you stay right there. Travi, Starbucks is going to be launching their NFT. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm not a fan of their coffee. How about you?
I'm actually a Dunkin' guy.
Oh, you're a Dunkin' guy. Well, Dunkin' Donuts, if you don't have your NFT collection start going, you need to talk to this guy, and we also had movers on. They will be more than happy to guide you on the right path with your Discord and Twitter pages and help you launch a successful project with a great utility roadmap. Now back to you, Travis. So, Starbucks. All right, so they're going to be launching this project. Could you imagine having free coffee for life because you own an NFT? How funny is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know the particulars around Starbucks' NFT launch, but I think that this is just the beginning. I see it as the tip of the iceberg. That's, in my eyes, that's another huge wave of adoption that's going to happen.
Yeah.
The guys at Movers talked about earlier how they're taking their communities and teaching them the fundamentals, the beginnings of how to mint an NFT, how to set up a MetaMask wallet. I think that this is just more adoption. This serves as more adoption. It's more people that are going to be introduced to the space, and I think we're going to continue to see this trend over time. I mean, I keep saying it to every one that I talk to. I think that every business needs to be pivoting towards Web3 in the future, and those that don't, I think, are going to be left behind in a large way.
I agree with it. So if people want to gain knowledge, Dan, Kevin, Travi, let's talk about this weekly call that you guys have going on. Kev, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll put Travi on the hot seat, and then I'll grab Dan to get in.
Yeah, so the weekly call we were talking about is just giving people updates. We're debating if it's weekly, daily, but we're going to get this more specifics. But it's just giving people to start out if they're new to the space, beginners, experts in the middle, just a way to just keep up. Because I know everyone's swarmed with their in personal lives. Everyone has jobs. Everyone can't really dedicate the time they really want to just capture everything that's happening. So we're just trying to provide some general specifics about major events that might cause an up and down in an NFT market and just stuff like that.
I think that's the thing is where people band together, strength is in numbers. Mm-hmm. So, how many times did I foolishly FOMO into a project, right? Oh my God, I got to get this. This is the greatest thing. And that's where people could get into trouble. But I also think groups can be really important because it can give you sort of a microcosmic feel of how people are either connecting with the project. So, as I'd asked Dan about psychedelics, you couldn't put necessarily your pulse on something specific, but you say the way that community makes you feel is not necessarily something you can articulate, but you still feel that confident months after. And even after this recorrection, you're still excited to have that project Psychedelics Anonymous. So shout out to you, Psychedelics Anonymous. You're keeping your group confident, and I freaking love that. Now, Travi, where can people find this weekly call?
Yeah, so I don't know where they can find it yet.
Okay.
It's something that we're trying to figure out the specifics of. I think that all of us combined, Dan, myself, Kevin, we all see the value in collaborating. There's always going to be someone that knows more. Yep. For example, I always use Eason as a resource in Elrond, and I've given him suggestions in Ethereum. But, I think that continuing to connect and have those intuitive conversations that are expanding beyond, the average baseline conversation in crypto, get that deeper thinking, figure out where that next play is or how, how.
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree with you completely, and I think that's important. One of the other shout outs that I want to give, and I pretty much give it weekly now, is Upstream. They have this thing called DAO in a Box. They have their NFT community. They actually migrated from Web 2 to Web 3. And which is really cool about that is they have decentralized autonomous organization. You can connect your wallet, part of community decisions and making. So again, you empower by the people, you empower by the community. You learn. It's a tremendous amount of alpha insight and advice. I'm just going to throw out to you guys, as you guys have your weekly call, and again, I will gladly share it to all my social channels. I find that Twitter Spaces, and let's talk a little bit about Twitter Spaces, is super important, especially, I'm really speaking to the newbies out there. You haven't been on a Twitter Spaces, you're really missing out. You want to understand the community look and feel. You want to hear about a roadmap, and to my next section of what we'll talk about in a second, sometimes people say that roadmaps don't necessarily matter. And again, coming from this individual, I kind of understand where they're coming from at that level. But I think just getting into those Twitter Spaces. So if you guys do have something and it's a Twitter Space and we can share it on Twitter, that would be amazing. I'm definitely up for a weekly call with you gentlemen. A lot of intelligence in this room for sure. So who is Mac Flavel? Flavel. Have you ever heard of Mac Flavel?
I personally have not.
All right, so really cool. And this is another reason why to get into Upstream. So the last week he was on a call and I listened to him speak. Absolutely incredible. So they do these kind of spaces within their app, and it's really cool. You can download the app Upstream. But this is one of the founders of Daper Labs and CryptoKitties. So CryptoKitties came out in 2017. And the real cool use case with them is that they would be able to send it on the Ethereum blockchain. And obviously this was the first real kind of test of gas fee to move things from one place to another. So it showed a use case for Ethereum. And I understand why we're big Ethereum fans, and you're a bigger Bitcoin fan than I am, but I totally respect it because the market does move up and down and has a history of it with Bitcoin. That being said, so Daper Labs, so this guy, Mac, cool dude, real funny, but he was the one that went to the NBA and said, hey, I think we need to do something with the NBA. And that's when NBA Top Shot was born. So that's even for you, Kev, since you're such a fan of that, I would highly recommend that you just, check out Upstream and go back to that recording. I think they might have that post-recording. I hope so. We also had Monica Rojas. She's the head of management for Upstream. We had her on an interview a few weeks ago. Super excited for that to come out. But DAOs, I feel like, are a little more intimate than that of NFTs because the community's wallet, how your decision, your vote matters to me and my money. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to change your mind or your mind to get us all on the same page so we all vote accordingly. And I thought that was really important. What are your takes on DAOs, by the way?
I mean, I think it really brings a sense of community, and you have to really entrust in that community. If you're going to go put money in and have other people vote of where your money's going to go, although you have a vote, I think that there's a whole nother level of trust. It's one thing to go mint an NFT and, basically your fate is in the team producing what they said they're going to produce. But in a DAO, it's not, more or less not producing. It's what's the next decision? Is the next decision the right decision? What moves to make with the DAO's money and to make sure that everyone that's voting in the DAO or that community is on, has their own take, but is also has the greater interest of the community in mind. And I think that's super valuable.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the things that Mac was asked on this call, and if you're going to ask somebody who creates CryptoKitties and literally was one of the co-founders of Daper Labs, so what makes a successful NFT project? What I thought was really cool is he goes, I honestly don't know. He goes, trendsetters either have massive success or massive failure. And he goes, I see success in those being 30% of the time. So you have a 70% failure rate, and I hope I'm not quoting him exactly, but that's at least what I heard from that call or being on that call, and I thought that was really interesting. The Wild West of Web3, I guess that goes into our next transition, right? So Wild West of Web3, we're seeing it now. What to you, Travis, right now is the biggest Wild West moment?
I think for me, the biggest Wild West moment would be the network. So I went into Bryant University thinking that I would be a finance student that would go on to take over financial advising. And, if I wanted to go be a financial advisor, there's basically a path that even Bryant will provide for me and provide internships and the experience, and I can connect with other financial advisors and see how they're building their book of business, etc. In Web3, it's not exactly like that. I think that the line is much more squiggly to get to that end path. For me now, trying to figure out where my path or niche is in Web3, I think that for everyone, this is such a crazy space. I mean, you're seeing famous people, millionaires get their wallets hacked. You're seeing all types of the Zuki release, the UST depegging. You would never see that in traditional finance. And
No.
it's because we're so early.
Right.
And that's why I think that, things like the weekly call and continuing to collaborate and build your circle and build your network is huge, because every call, every conversation, I always take something away, whether it's something that I learned from someone else or an idea that they sparked in my own head.
See, I have so much respect for that because I graduated from college at the beginning of 2000s. So you guys are a little bit younger than me. And what I thought was really fascinating about it is how much money is being spent on your college education that you are so enamored, like me, by this space that you're willing to impart some part, chance it, and then being able to convince the parents of that as well has probably been a great challenge. And so you want to show the upside, the potential. What do you think the learning curve, and I'm just throwing this out to you, and I didn't expect to ask you this question, but what do you think the learning curve for your parents to actually get and appreciate what you see in this space? And do they at least 50% see what you see?
I would say they probably see 10%, 5% of what I see. And I would say that that's probably the majority of people that are not in Web3 today. I think that over time, as we see things like Starbucks launching their NFTs and more adoption, like what the guys with movers are doing, adoption is the key to this entire space. It's just a matter of time. Me and Dan were speaking this morning on the phone. I can't wait to see what this space is going to be in 10 years. We have things like Moonbirds that raise an exorbitant amount of money, and we have this other side land launch. But what about, right now, Yuga is the biggest thing in NFTs, but in 10 years, we have no idea what that's going to be. That could be the next Apple in NFT form. We really don't know.
One of the conversations that actually happened in Upstream the other day was between Drew and Alex, the founder. I believe it was them. And I think they came onto the call, if I'm correct on this one, and they said that they have the original Bored Apes, but they don't have the mutant serum, I believe. And they said one of them was like, I'm just not going to mutate my Bored Ape. So I thought that was really interesting. And again, that's advanced or higher level for people that are beginners are like, what did you just say? Don't worry about that. You can just X that part out for yourselves. But I thought it was really interesting of what people keep as a genesis and what they value, and then your long-term trajectory or mindset on this. So I want to share my experience. I had a really silly experience this weekend. Yeah, my Instagram got hacked. No, it didn't get hacked. And then I want to correct myself, right? I was the fool. I was just sitting, just at the end of the day, going on Twitter, just kind of checking out some things. Kids are sleeping. So I'm like, cool, let me just see if I can just grab some more bits of information. So I get a DM from one of my friends, and it feels like her talking to me, like, because she's always very like, I need this done. Can you do this now? And I'm like, sure. It's like one of those friends that I need something done. She's a very good writer. I can like throw something back at her, and she's more than willing to help me out. And she's actually helped create some of my monologues. So I'm very grateful for that. So I'm like, let me help her. And it literally says, okay, I'm going to send you this SMS. So sends me this SMS. Take a screenshot of it and send it to me. Okay, sure. How in the world, Travi? I'm a pretty knowledgeable guy. I literally sent it off. As soon as I sent it, Kev, I went lump. I had this biggest lump in my throat, and I said, hey, Mish, why don't you give me a call? I said, and I literally wrote scammer with the F word. It's like, you got me. So I said, I'm quicker than this scammer. I know I am. I went in and changed my password. I got you now. I said, I got you. Guess what? I didn't get them. They got me. So they literally took over my page, and for 12 hours. So I want to give a quick shout out, though, to Ari Disraeli, Sam Disraeli of Your Tech Department, anything that plugs into wall IT tech solutions. He's been my friend for many years. We went to college together, so he's old like me. But a quick shout out to him, because not only did he help me to retrieve my IG, but I learned a couple things in all of this. One is have a Google Authenticator for most of your Web2 apps. Super important. People are very lazy, and that would have in part protected me. It would have stopped me possibly from having these scammers. And then I was always a big person of not using like an authentic, like, so you have that authenticator, which is really cool. But then I'm using now LastPass. LastPass, you only need one password, and what it does is it stops your passwords from duplicating. And I did in another episode, 50% of all people, so if you're like, Travis is the best 23 with an exclamation mark, and that's your password, what they do is when they go into IG and they hack you because you gave them the keys to the castle, first thing they're doing is they're not going to your IG. They're taking that and trying to shut that down. They're going right into your Gmail. And a shout out to Sean Anderson, because he actually said, dude, is your Gmail okay? He's another Bryant man. So I want to hear about a hack story. I'm going to go to you, Travi, and then Dan, I want to follow up with you on your story. What did you learn from it, and how did you grow? So Travi, you got hacked. I know you did.
I didn't get hacked, but I was very close to revealing my wallet on a false link. It was sent in the Discord. I was like very new in crypto. I think I had minted my first NFT or something along the lines of that, and there was, I forget the project now, there's so many of them, but at the time I was excited for it to come out, and I was kind of following, I guess, in the background, and I got an Discord DM, the first 100 that click on this link, you'll get it. And I sent it to Matt, who you know, and I'm like, oh my God, should I do it? Like, I think I got selected for the first 100 whitelist or whatever it was. And I literally was like, I thought about it for like 10 minutes and I almost did it. And then I had the biggest aha moment. I was like, oh my God, like that's literally what I read about on Twitter with like people losing millions of dollars. Like that is ideally, they're trying to, quickly get my attention and get me to act quickly on my feet. That's what every hacker is doing, right? I mean,
absolutely. They're career criminals.
Yeah, so thankfully I didn't give away my MetaMask. However, I was one click away from doing it, legitimately one click away from hitting the send button.
Wow, I love it. I love it because I realized my moment after. And then Hate Beast, I lost $950 on. That was a Web3 hack. This was a simple, Craig, what were you thinking hack, and he, and that goes to show is that whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced, these things can happen. So Dan, I want to switch with you real quick. I want to hear your quick hack story. Hopefully I don't want to say it happened to you, but if you get an almost and you were smart enough to avoid it, I'm going to be proud of you. But at the same time, if you have, something that's going to resonate or that is worse than my story, please make me feel better now, because I've just exposed that I wasn't hacked. I hacked myself.
Okay, so I was in crypto since like 2017, and so I wasn't in NFTs then. Actually, I was in CryptoKitties, but besides the point, I was actually hacked for like 0.2 Bitcoin. So that was pretty bad. Yeah. That was in 2017, 2018. So, I was obviously 18 then, so I didn't know any better, but learned my lesson, never again. So
yeah, that's right now. That's probably $3,000 or $4,000, I guess. 0.2. I don't know. It's probably around 30,000 right now, right? What's Bitcoin's price, Travi?
30K. So like
Travi knows.
Dan's the chart guy.
Dan's the chart guy. Oh, what is that right now?
30K. So.
Okay, 30K. You think it's gonna hold the? You think it's gonna hold the line here at this? That was the debate. You think it's gonna go down?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Dan's the chart guy. You heard from here. Guys, shouting out, Dan is the chart guy, so I'm going to agree with that. Dan, here's something that you and I both agreed with. Before we came on, I said, I pointed out this, but drift shooters on Twitter, and we'll put this picture up so you guys can see it in real time. It's photos from top of buildings and stadiums. This guy will climb to high heights and take the most dangerous pictures, and you're like, please, don't fall off. I love you. Just please be safe out there. And his backstory is absolutely incredible. But what I saw Twitter doing, and talk about community support, is that he loves his Vans sneakers. Unfortunately, what he doesn't do is he doesn't get sponsored by Vans, which to me is like kind of like in itself with his following, his successful, this is his second project launch. We have to have the second project, not first. Tell me a little bit about what you think about that, and do you think we can rally for drift shooter to be able to get a Vans contract? Do you think that the communities will make that happen? There will be enough pressure on Vans?
Yeah, if his collection gets big enough,
that's it.
I feel like at some point they got to look into Web3 and kind of say, hey, like we're missing a big opportunity here. We can collab on a potential collection and obviously make a ton of revenue off that. So It's something they should definitely look into.
Uh,
I mean, his
yeah.
his pictures are incredible.
Oh, they're
I mean,
incredible.
he has a
I remember
collection, so
getting this picture and I was just so happy. It just felt inspiring, like, you know, going to high heights. And his backstory, again, I want people to tune into that, so I don't want to give too much away. But just go on to Twitter, check out his page. We'll put the tag in there. It's Drifter Shoots on Twitter. But just love his message. I love what he's doing, and he's bringing more people, new people, creating diversity in community. So to me, that's really exciting because that's what Web3 represents, is that inclusivity of bringing everybody in and having the opportunity. And you're not necessarily having to go on the Ethereum blockchain. Again, as we came to that, I'm also a fan of Solana. So, you know, I'm hoping that the pressure will be felt, but I'll also throw this out to you, right? So everybody's coming through this pandemic in different ways, and I think a lot of businesses are figuring out, okay, we've got this supply, we got these supplies, this is what we have, this is the demand for our product. They're probably trying to get their whereabouts on that. That's what my hope is, because Vans, if you don't know, this guy is incredible, and he wears the coolest freaking shoes. Matter of fact, it has me going out to buy a pair of Vans. Matter of fact, since I said that, to support my friend, yeah, you got the Vans. You got the Vans. I love it. So I'm going to go out and buy a pair of Vans to support him. Not for any other reason, but I want to support him, and I want Vans to know how important he is to the Vans movement in 2022 and moving forward. All right, so that being said, Travi, it's an honor to have you guys on. Is there one thing that we missed today that we want to talk about, or do you think we covered a good amount? What's your thoughts?
I think that the biggest reinforcement for anyone that wants to expand in Web3 is to keep growing your network and keep having those deeper conversations that are thought-provoking. You know, everyone should have their small group, and small can be whatever you want to justify it as, but, you know, a group of people that have a similar passion and a similar mindset and a similar energy. For example, Dan, myself, and Kevin all plan to eventually take Web3 full time. You know, surrounding yourself with people like yourself who are creating content in Web3 and, you know, all these different connections, keep growing them. I think that that's really, it allows you to not skip steps, but allows you to discover things quicker. Instead of learning the hard way, you know, a lot of people can take your experience with your Twitter scam and learn from that. And I think that, you know, it's learning from other people's mistakes. Obviously, you're going to make your own. We all have. But the community and the community you surround yourself with in Web3, I think, is extremely, extremely important.
No, I love it. And I feel honored to have all three of you here. Dan, any parting words from you, my friend?
Yeah, no, I think just going off what Travis was saying, I mean, I think the value truly lies in community and connections within this space. I mean, a lot of people are building, and if we can connect with those people, we'd love to. So
yeah,
and collaborate, you know.
I think that's awesome. And how cool is it that you guys went through, you and Kevin just graduated, you and Dan. You guys graduated and you have this incredible degree from a prestigious university. And what has you really focused is Web3. I mean, people, if you don't take note of that the youth, when I say youth, I'm going to be 45, you guys are in your 20s, right?
Yes, sir.
How amazing is that? And it has me engaged. It has me diversifying. So I love being a realtor, but this is phenomenal too. And I love the best of both worlds. I'm an Uber daddy, a father, a husband, a realtor, and a podcaster. How cool is that? Travi, Dan, Kevin, so honored to have you gentlemen on. Thanks so much for hopping on with us today.
It was great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, brothers.